Hello and welcome to today's Bitrix24 webinar, Perfect Project Management. Thank you for joining today. Okay, so we'll just introduce ourselves before we go through the webinar. So my name is Sam Connor. I'm a sales engineer here at Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. We're based in the UK, in the US and Hong Kong. And what we do is we offer a full range of services to support you with Bitrix24, starting off with pre-sale support, so we can discuss your requirements and see if Bitrix24 would be a good fit for your business. If it would be a good fit, we can then do the implementation of Bitrix24 for you, setting it up with your specific requirements. If you're looking at a self-hosted system, then we offer our own hosting services for you, and we can provide you with training and ongoing dedicated support. Right then, so first of all, what is Bitrix24? So if you've come to the Perfect Project Management webinar today to get more understanding of what Bitrix24 is, it is a collaboration suite of now in excess of over 35 different tools to help you in managing your business. So what this enables you to do is we're going to look at how we can manage projects today specifically. There are many other tools that you can utilize within Bitrix24. There are over 9 million customers now around the world that use Bitrix24 to manage their business. And the system is available in two different editions. So we have the Bitrix Cloud and the Bitrix self-hosted system. And prices start from $19 per month for a cloud system and just under $1,500 for the 12-user self-hosted edition. Okay, so in today's webinar, Perfect Project Management, we're going to look at how we can create and manage projects in Bitrix24. But first of all, it's important to understand why you can use Bitrix24 to manage those projects. So first of all, Bitrix has project work groups, so you can have a defined area within Bitrix24 where you bring users together to manage those projects. So it's really simple to manage multiple projects within the system. You're able to use and generate tasks for your users in the platform, so we can assign responsibility within the project on different tasks for each user. And we can run automation on those tasks, so we can streamline our task management using automation tools that we will have a look at shortly. And we can also use automation to actually generate a project in the system and automate the process of bringing people together. So you can really make your processes efficient using automation rules in projects. We're able to have an overview of all of the different projects we're working on using the task and project reports that we'll have a look at. And a really useful feature within Bitrix projects is the ability to bring external users. So if those are your customers or maybe your suppliers, you can bring those external users into the specific projects you would like to associate them to. And that comes with all of the commercial and self-hosted editions of Bitrix24. You can have an unlimited number of external users. Okay, so first of all, today in the Perfect Project Management webinar, we're going to look at how we can create our very own project groups. So we'll see how we can bring members and employees together into a project, and we'll then have a look at some of the different features available in the project, including the Kanban and automations for tasks, and looking at the collaboration and document management sharing options available in the system. Okay, so let's go to our Bitrix24 system. So the first area you want to go to when you are wanting to create a new project in Bitrix24 is the Workgroup section. Because the Workgroup section is the area where you can see and enter all of the different projects or work groups that you are associated with. Now, before we go into create a new project, I just want to explain the difference between a work group and a project. And the key difference is with a project, you have a start and an end date. So you have some time parameters on that group. And if you're going to be creating and managing tasks within that group, then those tasks can't have a deadline that goes beyond the project end date. So you have time parameters on a project. Whereas a work group, you don't need to have any start or end dates. It can just be an area where you bring specific people. So for example, we have a work group here for all the people within the information technology department. But when we want to go and create a new project, we can go to the Create button here. And this will open up the area where we can now create our own projects. So there are different types of projects you can create. First of all, you can have a public project. So this is where anyone within your Bitrix24 system can enter that project. It's an open area for everyone within your Bitrix24 system to be able to enter and see that project. You can also have a private project. This is where you as the project manager invite specific people into that project. So it's an invitation only to access that project. So if you've not been invited, you wouldn't be able to enter that project. So it is a secure, closed area to manage a project. And we can also have external projects. So this is where you can invite in your third parties, your clients or suppliers, those people who are not part of your Bitrix24 system. You can create an external project to invite people into the project. So if we click on here to let's create a private project, this opens up the project creation page. And this is where we start to add some detail about that specific project. So first of all, I can give the project a title. Okay, so we can give that a title, and you can also then, if you want, you can add a description so people get more understanding of what the project is about when they are invited. Okay, so I can add a description. You could also upload an image if you want to associate an image to the project. And for every project, you can also select a theme. So in here, you can select what theme you would want the background to be. Then we can select the project dates. So this is where we distinguish between the project and the work group. If we're going to add some dates, it is going to be a project. So we have those time parameters on the project here. And so we've got the project owner. So as I'm creating this, I've been made the owner, but I can select who I want the owner to be here if it wasn't going to be myself. And then we can invite other employees into this project. So we can invite employees, but you can also have moderators. And a moderator is a middle layer of management within the project. So when we go into a project shortly, you'll see how we can set permission structures on the different levels here. So the owner, the moderator, and the other employees. So it could be, for example, we set access rights so the owner and any moderators are able to create new tasks within the project. So that's why we can have different layers of management in a project or in a work group. And then we can also select a subject for this particular project. And then what's really useful within Bitrix is you're able to select what features you would like to turn on or turn off in your projects. So, for example, you may want to create a project and you know you're going to be using the task feature. So we can turn on the task feature there. And maybe you want to share documents. So we can enable a drive area to store documents and information. And maybe we're going to add tables of data, which you would do within a list. So you can see here how we can turn on and turn off all of the different features we would like for this particular project. And you may create another project tomorrow, for example, and maybe you have every single feature turned on. It's completely customizable for every single project that you create. Okay, so we're just going to create that project. So you can see now it's brought through those different features we want to use. So we've got the task area, I've got the drive area as well. So it's brought through all of those features we want to use. And as the owner, what I can also do is if I want to go back in and maybe I want to turn on another feature for this particular project, I could go back into here and I can then enable other features. So you don't have to recreate a new project. You can just update as and when you require. Okay, so let's go into another project that has some more information so we can see what a running project looks like in the system. Okay, so we've just opened up another project here, and you can see each project that we mentioned, it has its own theme, so you can see in the background there. If you want to see more information about the projects, we've got the About Project area, so we can see all of the statistics and the members associated to this particular project. And we mentioned how you can have owners, moderators, and other employees. This can then be used in your access area. So for every project you create, you can customize the permission structure on lots of different areas of the project. So for example, as I mentioned, if we want to set the permission for who can create new tasks, we might say the owner of the project and the moderator. So you can customize here the permission structure throughout the entire project that you are using. Okay, so we've just made those changes there, and you can see here we've got a general feed area. So this is where we can see all of the information associated to the particular project. So I can go into here and I can add messages onto this project. So maybe I want to send a message. So I can add that message and that will get added into everyone's feed area. And all of those messages then people can communicate back. So you can like and add your own comments back. So if I just go on to look at this as another user in the system, then what you can see here is that message that has been added into the feed area. And so other users can then comment back. So it's a really useful way to collaborate with your members of the project. Okay, so we can see all of those pieces of information now added into here. So it's a great area for collaboration. Okay, so that's the feed area, and within here we can also see our task management area. So within a project, a key area that you would utilize is where you can manage your tasks. So within the task area, we can see all of the tasks across the project here. At the top, you've got a filtering system. So maybe you want to filter on maybe those all that are in progress, or maybe based on who's responsible for the task. So you've got a multi-field search tool in here to be able to drill down into any specific tasks inside the system. And there's lots of different ways you can view tasks. So here is the deadline view, and I think this is a really useful way to quickly get an overview of where the tasks are for this particular project. So based on what deadline you've set for the task, we can then see where those are distributed within the deadline view. So I can see we currently have 2 tasks overdue, so we can automatically see what we need to be working on in the system. And we can then see further on what tasks are going to be due in the near future. Now, with any of these tasks, you can click into the task and that opens up the task page. So you can see all of the information about that task, all of the details. You can add checklists, so for different items that need to be completed. And all of the key statistics about the task are on the right-hand side. Another nice feature, you can also do a video call specifically associated to this task. So we can bring all of the people who are working on this task into a video call. And further down here, you can also record time. So if you wanted to start recording the amount of time that has been spent on a task, you have the ability here to create your own time tracker for that particular task. And all of that time will get logged in the time section here. Now, it's quite common that you may forget maybe to record some time, so you can come back into here and add some time. So maybe yesterday, for example, I did an hour's worth of work on this task, but I forgot to record the time. So I can then go back into here and add that as a time. Okay, so I can record that, and that now gets updated on the time area. You also have a comment section within the task page. So just like we saw on the general feed area of the project, if you want to communicate and collaborate on a specific task, you can do that within the task page. So you can really channel your communications in every single task that you manage in the project. Okay, and when you want to create new tasks, you've got the new task section here. So if you've got the permission structure, so you're able to create tasks, you can add your information into here. So it's very similar to when you create a project. You can give it a title and a description. You might want to attach some documents and information, or maybe even a checklist. So it allows you to add all of that detail into the task area. And you can then also add those time parameters. So who's going to have that deadline, so we can set a deadline for the task, and maybe also add some participants for who's going to be working on this particular task with you. What you can also do is you can use task templates. So if you've got all of that information populated, if it's a task that maybe gets repeated, you can create templates so that information is automatically populated in the system. And you can also have tasks automatically repeated. So maybe as you're an accountant, you may have to redo a task every single month. So you could set this task to automatically repeat at a specific time parameter. Okay, so that's looking at tasks. And as I said, there are lots of different ways you can view tasks. So you can see these in maybe a list view. You also have the Kanban view. So this is the overall project. You can see what stages we're going through to complete these tasks in the project. Now you can customize this, so you can set different stages that a task will go through and add your own titles and descriptions. So it's completely customizable Kanban functionality within every single project that you create. And I can then move these tasks across as and when they are being worked on. There is also another type of Kanban view here, which is the planner view. And this is specifically for your own tasks. So if I wanted to create a new stage in here, for example, then I can have this as my own task area. And this does not affect any other user in this project. Every single person has their own personal planner view. So this is really useful for personalizing your own project management Kanban display. There's also the calendar view, so we can see based on the deadlines of the tasks, we can see those in a calendar format. And there's also the Gantt chart display as well. So we can see based on a Gantt chart display where we are with all of our tasks. And you can click into here if you wanted to just quickly see all of those, for example, that are overdue. We have filters over here, so you can quickly start to drill down into any of those tasks within the project itself. So it's a really useful area for a project, managing all of your tasks across lots of different participants within the project. Okay, and so looking at some of the other features available, as I mentioned, you can turn on and turn off lots of different features in a project. Within this project, we also have a calendar, so we can see all of the different events and meetings associated to this particular project. We've also got a drive module. So this is really useful if you want to store documents and information associated to a particular project. You can store that data inside here. So I might want to upload a file or a folder, and we can then connect with also external applications to feed documents into here. And once that information has been added into here, again, we can set permissions. So it could be, for example, you only want certain people to be able to enter that particular folder, even within the project. So you can see here who is able to access those particular folders, and we can set access rights as well. So I think if I just show you now as an external user, if we just go into that same project, and if we go into a particular drive space. So as an external user on this project we're looking at, you can see here in their drive module, they only have a folder and one file that they're able to access. Whereas on our internal team, we've got a lot more information associated in the drive area. So you can set those permissions for maybe what your external users are able to access. So they might not need to see every piece of information in the drive area. Okay, you can also create lists, and lists are where you can store tables of information. So for example, you may want to store all of the expenses associated to the particular project. So you can create your very own lists of tables in here. We also have a knowledge base. So you might want to store maybe FAQs or articles, maybe relevant to that particular project. You can create your own knowledge base for every single project that you run in the system. So people can easily find specific details in the project. And we've also got the chat system. So we can have an instant chat with the rest of our team. So you can do instant chat. But what you can also do is you can set up voice calls and video calls with up to 48 other users in the system. So you could have a conference call with everybody else who is in this particular project. Okay, so that's a look at one project within the Bitrix system. But obviously there may be lots of different projects that we're working on. So within the task and project area, you can then start to filter down into see the overall projects that are being worked on. So I can drill down into an individual or multiple projects in here, for example. So I might want to filter into those particular projects. We can also see in the project view here, we can see all of the different projects being worked on within our Bitrix system. You have a performance score. So that score here, where you can see, is based on how many tasks within that project are completed on time or are currently on track within the deadline of the task. So that gives you a really good, very clear overview of how well tasks are being completed within the projects in a global view within the Bitrix24 system. You can also see individual users' performance. So you can see the efficiency score for individual people. So you could see, rather than an overall project view, how well individual users are completing their tasks in the system. And we also have a report wizard in here. So what you could also do is set up your very own reports based on the information within tasks and projects across your Bitrix system. So within the report wizard here, you can give the report a name and a description. We can choose a reporting period, and then I can add all of the pieces of information that I want to associate to this particular report. And once it's been created, I can then decide if I want to just have it for myself, or maybe I want to share it with other users in the system. So we can customize exactly who is able to access that report. So there's lots of different tools in the task and project area to give you an overview of how well all of the projects within your Bitrix24 system are being managed. Okay, so that's a look at project groups. Let's just see if we have any questions that you have. Please do add them into the chat box and we can run through those for you. Okay, so can extranet users see tasks that are associated to the project? So yeah, absolutely. So an extranet user could have access to as much information in the project as you would like them to see. So if I go into the task area for this external user, you can see they can see the tasks that they are associated to. So rather than seeing every single task in the project as a project owner can, they might just be able to see all of the tasks they're associated to here. But then with all of those different tasks, they're able to go into those tasks. They can communicate with you. They could record time on the task. So you're able to give them really as much permission on any area of the project as you like. Okay, so we can add that message as an external user. I could add a time into here. You can see we've not given them the option to create a new task, but again, that's just a permission setting. So you can customize what an external user is able to do and also what they're able to create within the project. Okay, if there are any other questions, please add them into the question box and we'll go through those before the end of today's webinar. Okay, so we've seen there how we can manually create a new project in the Bitrix24 system. What you can also do is you could run automation rules, and that will automate actions. So you could actually have a project created automatically. Now, this is really useful because it gives you a solid structure for creating a project. So for example, it could be you've won a tender. So in the CRM system, you've closed a new deal. And now we've closed that deal, it could be we need to bring a group of people together and create a set of tasks that need to be completed. So we could actually create a workflow to actually have that project automatically created. So if we go into our CRM system, and we could run this workflow in any area. It could be in leads or deals, or maybe if you create a new company, you might want to run this in the company page. So if we go into a company, I'm going to show how you could run this workflow in here. Okay, so we've gone into a company page. And if I go into our workflow section, we have the ability inside here to create a new project. So it opens up a new form. So we're going to have inside here the project name, the manager for who is going to be responsible for the project, and also we have here a project type. Okay, so first of all, we're going to give this project a name. Okay, so we're going to call it TechCo Tender Project. Now the tender has been won. I'm going to select the manager for the project and also the type of project. So based on this type, for example, it could be project A has a selection of tasks and project B has a completely separate selection of tasks. So you could customize exactly what is created within that project. Now this form as well, you could completely customize. This is just a very general standard overview of a workflow, but you could completely customize what information needs to be entered in this form. But I'm going to now start that process. Okay, and if we go into our workflow section, we can see here now in the workflow area, we've been assigned to a new project. So we now need to either approve or add some more information about this project. So inside here now, approval required for this new project. I need to add an estimated completion date. So I'm going to add this here. And I'm going to accept this as the manager of the new project. Okay, so that's now, we can see here we've been receiving a notification about the new project. And if we go into our workgroup section, we can see that TechCo Tender Project has now been created in our project area. So we can see in this project, it's brought a group of people together, and it's also created a set of tasks that need to be completed. So we've automated that process now. So we've brought those group of people together. We've created the specific set of tasks that need to be completed for this particular project. So it's really useful because it gives you a very solid structure. So there may be different types of projects that could be created when a sale is won. You could add all of those into a workflow here and have the tasks created automatically in the system. And if we just go into the back end of the Bitrix system, I just want to show you how that workflow looks in the Process Designer tool. So this is the back end of how that process is generated. So first of all, we add the information about the project. And once we've added that information, the members of the project are notified. And based on that project type that we entered in, so we selected project A, we then had a selection of tasks that were created based on that selection. Whereas if we selected project B, a completely different set of tasks would be created in the platform. So you can create your own workflows inside here for the creations of your own projects in the system. It's a really useful way to streamline your project creations. But there is also a different type of automation that you can do within projects, and that is task automation. So we can run automation rules at a specific stage of a task in the system. So if we go back into our BizTech project and we go back into our task area, then what you're able to do within here is you can set up automation rules for all of your different tasks in the system. So if I just take off some of our filters in here, and let's go into our Kanban display. What we can do within here is you can see the stages that we have for our tasks. And at each stage of the process, we could set up automation rules. So based on these stages that you progress a task through, we could have automatic activity take place. Now, just to make this aware to you, this privilege of running approvals on tasks and automations is only available on the professional cloud license and also on the self-hosted edition. So if you're on anything less than a professional cloud, you won't be able to access this tool. What we can do is based on the stage of a task in here, so we go from pending to in progress, we can run automation. So for example, it could be we send a notification to the user when the task goes to in progress. Or maybe when the task becomes urgent, then what we may do is it could go to a more senior manager. So we could change who is responsible for that task based on that specific stage. So it's a really useful way to streamline processes using automation rules based on the stages of your tasks. And these stages that you see here, that's completely customizable for every single project that you create in the system. Okay, so let's look at some of the automation rules. Okay, so a question here, will this webinar be available online on YouTube, for example? Yeah, absolutely. We're going to send you a recording of this webinar, and we will also be adding it to our YouTube channel. So if you want to go to our YouTube channel, so the Interface YouTube channel, all of our webinar recordings are available on there for you to see. Okay, another question, is there a way to connect a CRM project to the project management or workgroup section? So I guess a question to go back there is what information are you wanting to connect from the CRM to a project? That's really a key question there. So within a task, you can connect a particular CRM entity. So inside here, for example, we've got CRM items. We've associated this task to a particular contact. So if I wanted to inside here, I could have this task associated to different entities within the CRM. So it could be I want to connect this to a company or maybe to a particular deal or job that I'm working on. So within a task, you're able to connect that particular CRM item. But if you're wanting to connect, I guess, the full work group, really these are two separate modules within the Bitrix24 system. But if you wanted to say connect a work group area to a deal, then quite a simple way you could associate them is you could maybe create a new link within here. So we could say the project link. And then inside here, I could just save that work group link and it's associated in the system. But they are two completely separate modules within the Bitrix24 system. So really, you would connect with tasks across your CRM entities. Okay, if there are any other questions, please add those into the question box before the end of the webinar today, and we will run through those for you. So we mentioned a little bit here about the extranet users in Bitrix24. So let's just talk about this in a little more detail. So within the project management tool, you're able to invite external users into particular projects. So that's within the extranet side. And you can have an unlimited number of external users entering those projects. So there's no limit on the number that you can associate into a project, but you do need to have a commercial Bitrix24 license. And when you invite in your clients and suppliers, they will log into the portal area. Now, we're going to mention in a short while about the benefits of a self-hosted system. If you're wanting to have a portal area that is branded, so we can remove the Bitrix24 branding and have your own corporate branding where they log into that particular project, you would need a self-hosted edition. But with the extranet site, it enables you to invite your clients and suppliers, and you can then grant them access to as many features within the project and work group as you like. So inside this external user, they're able to see their particular project that they are associated to. And you can see the key difference here. They only have access to this particular project. They don't have access to any other projects because they've not been invited to them, and they don't have access to any of the other internal modules within Bitrix24, such as the CRM and the HR features, for example. But within here, they can enter their project. They can then, as we've seen throughout the webinar today, they can communicate with you. They can see all of their tasks. They're able to see all of the documents you've associated with them. And it could be you let them have access to upload information. That's quite a common feature for the external user tool. So you allow your customers to upload data and information, and that gets added into the internal area of your Bitrix24 system. So it's a really useful feature available within the project tool. And if there's something you're interested in, you would need, as I say, a commercial cloud or the self-hosted system. Okay, just see if there are any other questions that we can go through in the webinar today. Okay, so can you restrict a client's view of documents? So yes, absolutely. So I briefly mentioned this earlier on in the drive area. What you can do is for every single project, you can set the rules for what information each participant within that project is able to access. So if we go into that drive area, for every single folder or file that is added into the drive area, you have this access permissions section. So within here, then I can set what level of access different users within the project are able to see. So it could be down to the individual user, or maybe the different types of groups within the project. So maybe the moderators have different levels of access. But you can do this for every single document that is stored within the Drive module. Okay, so just to briefly mention some of the benefits of the self-hosted edition of Bitrix24. We've mentioned how you can invite your customers into projects. Now, with the cloud system, it would be a Bitrix24 branded portal where they log in. But if you want a self-hosted system, then we can fully customize the branding and feel of the system. So we can add your own corporate branding to that portal. There are also advanced automation rules, so we have access to the PHP blocks and source code, so it enables us to build more advanced automations or maybe triggers from other systems. And you can also create your own maybe personal project dashboard. So if there's some of the reporting tools, if you want a very specific report, we could build dashboards using the self-hosted system. Okay, so that's an overview now of the Perfect Project Management webinar. Here you can see a selection of the up and coming webinars. So we've got Next Level CRM and Self-Hosted Advantages. We are here every Tuesday at 11 AM Eastern Time. So I hope you'll be able to join next week for the next Bitrix24 webinar. And thank you for your time today.